Hi everyone, I'm Andy.
Hi everyone, I'm Amy and we're from Tales from the Heart.
Thank you for joining us again for this Folklore Thursday. We've got a few announcements to make today. Exciting ones, but kind of a little sad as well. This is going to be our last Folklore Thursday storytelling for a little while. The reason being that people are going back to school. Lockdown's kind of closing down a little bit, so things are getting back to normal, which means, Amy?
Yes, it means that with that, as hopefully you'll have heard last week, is we are going live for the first time in quite a while. Our Heritage Story Walk is taking place on the 19th of September and the 21st and 22nd of September. We have... how many family shows we have? We have five family shows and an adults only one on the Saturday evening, where we add a little bit more gore to it. And all the information that you can find about the event itself and all the details you need to book, plus any COVID-19 special regulations you want to double check, you can find all of that on the link below in the description box on our website and on our Facebook event. You book that directly through the Hartford tourist information. Please do it by phone or email if you can, just to have as little contact as possible. We have 10 slots. We have 10 people per slot. So make sure you get in quick and book your tickets to avoid disappointment. And it'll be great to see you all again in person. So if you can make it, it'll be great to have you along. And we've also got something else we're doing linked with Hartford Heritage Week. Andy?
Yes, another exciting announcement to make. As a lot of you will know, we're usually part of a fantastic event, probably one of my favourites of the year, Hartford Castle Heritage Day. Now, unfortunately, that day, which we're quite heavily involved with usually with storytelling and other costume bits, it has been cancelled. It was going to be on the 20th of September. However, we are going to be running an online Heritage Day. So on the same day, on the 20th of September, I imagine at about midday, I think, which is when the event would usually kick off, we will be online with loads of cool stuff, not only us storytelling and presenting, but there's going to be lots of really interesting videos. We've got some we've filmed already, some we've yet to film, from the wonderful reenactors and falconers that usually come and display there, as well as some other people as well. And it's going to have loads on Hartford, its history and heritage, and also history and heritage in a broader scale as well. So keep an eye on our Facebook page and the council's Facebook page. They'll have updates about it and let you know where you can watch it, where you can find the link. And we'll be posting up some cool pictures and bits that we've been doing in conjunction with that as well. So, yes, watch this space, and we hope to see you all watching it on the 20th.
As this is our last lockdown storytelling video, if you've liked what you've heard today, rather than leave us a tip, we've been supporting the Trussell Trust Food Bank charity throughout our lockdown storytelling, and it would mean such a great deal to Andy and I if you could show your appreciation to us by donating whatever you can, if you can, to them instead. There's a link in the description box below that you can follow to make a single one-off donation. There's also a box above me somewhere which will show you an insight into the sort of work they've been doing before lockdown and during. And it, as I say, it would really mean a great deal to us. If you can't donate, if you're suffering from hardship yourself, you can still help by amplifying. You can share this video on to your friends and family, and someone else might see it further down the line in a wider audience and be able to donate instead. So yeah, we'd really appreciate if you could do that for us. Thank you.
So yes, on with the story. Now, the story we've got for you today is one that we worked out that we haven't told in about 4 years, something like that. Yeah, about 4 years, we think.
Not that long.
And I'm amazed that not only have we not told this story since, but it's part of a cycle, part of a big sort of story that hasn't been told by us before, really. Which I'm amazed that we've missed out on it somehow, because it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, set of myths and legend in British folklore. I'm, of course, talking about the Arthurian Cycle. Now, there's a really interesting thing about the story we're about to tell you, is that, as Amy was saying to me earlier, it is, you see this story come up in different forms, don't you, in different cultures.
You do, definitely. There's one, if it sounds familiar to you, you've probably heard a version of this story told in all sorts of places. That's the beauty of storytelling. And yeah, I mean, I know a version of this story that comes up in the Iron Age legend of Cuchulainn that I've heard before. And I'm sure there's other versions you've heard before, Andy, of this story. It's so familiar, it's timeless.
Yeah, as Amy said, there's the Red Branch one, the Cuchulainn one, as well as you've got various ones through Europe. But we're going to tell you the Arthurian version.
The original, maybe.
The original, well, maybe. Very hard to tell. But this story, naturally, being in the middle of summer, is a story set at Christmas, at a Yule feast. This is the story of Gawain and the Green Knight. Long ago, in a place called Camelot, the great King Arthur was celebrating Yule. Now, Yule was a 12-day feasting period. None of this Christmas Day, Boxing Day done stuff. No, this was a 12-day celebration of merriment and feasting. Christmas Day had already passed, but there was still much feasting to come. And sharing the king's celebrations were not only his subjects and servants, but the Knights of the Round Table. Now, the Knights of the Round Table were the bravest, most honourable men in the kingdom. Their deeds were known far and wide. And the youngest of these knights was Arthur's own nephew, Gawain.
Sir Gawain was a handsome knight and a very brave one too. But he was the only knight who hadn't proven his bravery in a quest or a battle, and he longed for the chance to do so and really earn his place at the round table with all the other knights. Sadly, though, until he'd had that chance to prove himself, all he could do was listen quietly while the other knights boasted of all of their great deeds and adventures.
Now, all were in good spirits and looking forward to a mighty feast. The table was heavy laden with wild boar, venison, cakes, and plenty of ale. Now, the king raised his own cup, and thinking of the feasting and entertainment to come, loudly wished that they might have some excitement, some adventure or mystery to spice up the evening. Now, before he had time to put that cup down, all the knights about him gasped, as there rode riding into the hall was the strangest man they'd ever seen. Now, this visitor was extremely tall, and the face was as fierce as his arms were strong. His eyes glowed beneath bristling eyebrows, and a great green beard hung down from his chin onto his chest, bristling like a bush. His tunic was green. The horse he rode in on was green. Only two things were not green: the golden torque that sat thick around his neck, and the wickedly sharp gleaming axe that he took from his belt and leant upon once he had dismounted.
The knights were astonished. The king invited the stranger to join them at the table. He replied he had not come to feast, but to prove once and for all the courage of the famous fellowship before him. If it is battle you seek, replied Arthur, I will gladly accept your invitation.
No, sire, boomed the Green Knight. I come not to fight, but to challenge. And he turned then to face the crowd. I want to know if any man here is bold enough to swing an axe blow at my neck. One blow. And on the condition that in a year and a day, if you do that, he shall stand and receive a similar blow from my hand. With that, he raised the giant axe above his head and waved it about in threat. All the knights were silent. No one really cared to offer him such an exchange of blows. The Green Knight looked scornfully about those assembled. Is this, he sneered, the court of which such mighty deeds and boasts are made of?
Red with shame, the king cried out he would take up the challenge. "You will see," said Arthur. "We fear not your big words or the sharp steel of your axe." But his knights quickly surrounded him, telling him this was too low a thing to do for a king. Truth be told, they were scared at losing him to the great big axe. Then a young voice spoke from the back of the crowd. It was Gawain. "Give me the chance," he begged. "This is a game for a young man to play." All the other knights roared their approval, and King Arthur withdrew his challenge. "Nephew," said the king, "put your heart and soul into that swing as well as your back. Strike his head from his shoulders so he can never repay you for the blow."
The Green Knight smiled grimly. "It suits me well enough to have you strike me, but first you must promise to seek me out in a year and a day, so I can repay you for it in kind." Now Gawain gave his word, and the giant pulled back his hood and pushed aside his green hair to expose his neck. Stroking his great beard, he awaited, unconcerned for what was to come.
The young man grasped the heavy axe, held it high, and with a great cry, "Ah!" swung it down, cutting off the giant's head in one go. The crowd cheered, but those cheers turned to gasps. And the knight stood up, picked up his head, and with a wriggle, popped it back on his neck.
All the knights fell into stunned silence, and as he remounted and rode from the hall, the knight's eyes found Sir Gawain. "I have your word," he boomed. "Do not fail to seek me out. You will find me at the Green Keep."
The challenge became the talk of the land. However, as time passed, people forgot all about it, their heads filling with other battles, treasures, and quests. Sir Gawain, however, could not forget. For him, the months rushed past. Soon it was Easter, with its showers and blossoms, then the warm summer sun. Next came the golden harvest, and all too soon the grass died, the mists returned, and it was winter again. Arthur knew his nephew must keep his promise, and on All Hallows' Eve, or Halloween, he prepared a great feast in his honour. The following day, as Sir Gawain rode from Camelot, many could not hold back their tears. No one expected to see the young, brave knight again. In his search for the Green Keep, Sir Gawain climbed many a hill and crossed many a marsh and river. He battled bears, wolves, and serpents, but kept travelling. He stopped regularly to ask about the Green Knight, but none had heard of him. He prayed that he may be guided to a place to rest. As he opened his eyes, he saw, in the glow of the setting sun, a noble castle on a distant hill. Spurring on his weary horse, he galloped towards the fortress.
The lord of the castle met Sir Gawain with a warm welcome. He was a very tall and sturdy knight, and Gawain was shown to a beautiful chamber in the keep and made to feel at home. After he had dressed in rich new robes, he joined the Christmas gathering that was happening. At the table was the lord and his beautiful lady and many knights.
For 3 days they feasted. Then Gawain went to his host to say his farewell. He explained he must be on his way, for he needed to find a place known as the Green Keep. The lord, however, explained it was close by, and hearing this, Gawain agreed to stay for another day. His host then offered to enliven proceedings with a pledge. He planned to go hunting the next day and offered to exchange what he got in the woods for whatever Sir Gawain received in the castle. A puzzled Gawain said he expected to receive nothing, but the pledge was sealed with a friendly toast. The next day, the lord went out early. Sometime later, while he was resting in his chamber, Sir Gawain received a visit from the lady of the castle. She was clearly very attracted to Gawain, and she refused to leave him alone until she could give him a kiss. So, reluctantly, he let her give him a peck on the cheek.
The Lord returned with a young stag that he had shot, and he gave it to Gawain, who, blushing, planted a kiss upon the man's cheek. "Ha! Who gave you that?" asked the Lord. But Gawain laughed off the question, and they sat down to settle.
The next day, the Lord went out again, and once more the lady came back to Gawain's room. This time she refused to leave until she could give him another kiss on the other cheek. So reluctantly, he let her do it and showed her the door.
And this time the Lord came back with a fine heron that his hawks had brought down. And when he gave that to Gawain, he got another peck, this time on his other cheek. He laughed, asking again who gave them to the knight, these kisses, and Gawain again got around the question without answering it.
On the third day, the lady came back to Gawain's room once more. This time, she insisted on giving him one more kiss, this time on the lips. She also offered him a silk cloth from her dress, a token of her favour to bring him luck. He refused at first, feeling guilty, but eventually accepted, not wanting to hurt her feelings.
This time the Lord came back with a great wild boar, for which Gawain gave him 3 kisses, but kept quiet about the cloth. They sat down to dinner, laughing and joking, for their last night of feasting.
Gawain's heart was heavy, for the time was drawing near when he must leave the castle. He slept badly that night. When he awoke, he said his thank yous and goodbyes, and wrapping the green silk around his sword, hoping it would bring him luck, he left. The Lord had told him the way to the Green Keep, and after a few hours travelling through the hills, nestled in a wooded valley, he saw the moss-covered building. Gathering his strength, he strode up to it and knocked on the door.
The door creaked open, and there stood the imposing form of the Green Knight. "Welcome to my abode," he boomed, as he stepped forward. "You have made it here just in time. Now prepare to make good our bargain, eh?"
Sir Gawain bravely removed his helmet and bent forward. But as the axe was raised, he could not help but flinch.
"Ha ha 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 ha!" the Green Knight laughed. "He flinches before he is hurt."
"When my head comes off, I cannot put it back," Gawain spoke fearfully. "But I gave my word and will not flinch again."
Once more the Green Knight held the axe high above his head.
"Strike and be done with it," said Gawain, getting worried again.
"Have patience," the knight jeered, and for the 3rd time he lifted the heavy axe up high. This time the knight did not flinch or cry out as a sharp axe whistled through the air and onto his neck, splitting the skin.
It was a few moments before stunned Gawain realised that, apart from a few drops of blood, he was unharmed. He turned to see, leaning on his axe, not the Green Knight, but the Lord of the castle.
"My brave knights," laughed the Lord, "I raised my axe 3 times for my wife's 3 kisses. Upon my request she came to see you, to see if you're a man of true honour. The cut on your neck is for the favour you took from her, the silk, but did not exchange, for that was our bargain. For that I let you feel how much sorer I could have struck. I let you feel the axe's kiss."
Sir Gawain stood amazed by both his near miss and the generosity of the knight. He offered the silk cloak back to him.
"Keep the favour," said the knight, "as a token of this adventure. The debt is cleared." The knight introduced himself as Sir Burblake, servant to none other than Merlin himself. He invited Gawain back to the castle where Merlin was actually staying. Gawain pointedly refused the offer, saying he'd had enough of magic to last him a lifetime.
Gawain made his way home to Camelot, where there was great celebration at his return. All were overjoyed at him keeping his head attached to his shoulders, none more so than Gawain himself. As for the lady's favour, he wore it as a reminder, should he ever get too proud of his faint-heartedness. Between that and the scar on his neck, he vowed never to forget the lessons he learned from the Green Keep and its lord for as long as he lived.
And that was one of the many versions of the tale of Gawain and the Green Knight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us on this Folklore Thursday. And not just this Folklore Thursday, but all the Folklore Thursdays since April. Even if you've just joined us to this channel, you can still subscribe to us and you can view our entire collection of our lockdown storytelling videos. It's been really fun to do for us. It kept us busy, especially in the early days of lockdown. Do you remember, ma'am? There's literally nothing happening.
Oh yes. This was a bit of a lifesaver for us. This kept our sanity intact, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we hope that it did the same for you as well, and brought a bit of joy and a bit of something fun to your weeks as the time's gone on. Yeah, we hope it's done a lot for you as much as it's done for us as well. Yeah, as we said, this won't be the last virtual storytelling we ever do, we like to think. Yeah, we can't wait to come back live out and about again. So if you'd like to see more of what we do, please come on down to Hertford, our Heritage Story Walk, or join us online for, or hopefully for both, join us for the Hertford Castle Heritage Day virtually on the Hertford Town Council YouTube channel on the 20th of September. Yeah, and we hope to see you virtually and live again very soon.
Yes, yeah, just to add to that, thank you, from me as well. Thank you so much for sticking with us through lockdown as well and joining us. The recorded ones, the live ones that we've done, just everything we've done, your kind comments, your shares, it's meant so much to us. And it's almost kind of sad, really, isn't it?
It is.
We'll hold off next Thursday, I think, the next few Thursdays, but don't be too surprised if you see another few of these coming up here and there in the next coming months. We've got some ideas for stories that we want to tell, and we'll probably put online as well. So, yes, we will definitely be back doing this. And, yeah, again, just thank you so much for all your kind words, your likes, your shares, and, joining us with these stories on Folklore Thursdays. So from us, for a little while, goodbye. Thank you very much again, and see you soon, I hope, in the flesh.
Take care, everyone. As ever, stay safe and look after yourselves and each other. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.